everybody, I'm Emily, one of the designers here at the Quilted Cow, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to make the Ruthie's Ruffle pouches. It's one of our this or that projects from the subscription box this month. First though, let me thank our sponsors. We are sponsored by Husqvarna Viking Machines, Creative Grids, Cutters, Mats and Rulers, and Wilmington Prints. Let's get started.
Quiet on set, we are rolling.
Okay, so the Ruthie's Ruffle pouches are a couple of really cute pouches. I really like them. Part of the subscription box. You can also find kits on our website, so grab those. You're going to end up getting all of the fabric that you need to make these pouches and the hardware and zippers, everything like that. So check out what the kit has to offer. The pattern will be sold separately, so make sure whenever you pick up your kit on our website that you also pick up a pattern so that you can make this. So the first thing we're going to start with is the wristlet handle, the wristlet strap, and the D-ring tab. You're going to get your hardware. There is a swivel hook and a D-ring. You're also going to cut your rectangles that you need for the wristlet strap. So the wristlet strap is made by first fusing the lightweight interfacing to the wrong side of your fabric of your wristlet strap. You're also going to do the lightweight interfacing to the D-ring hook, the D-ring tab, sorry. So make sure you fuse that interfacing to it. Now your interfacing, there's going to be a bumpy side, there's going to be a smooth side. Make sure the bumpy side goes to the wrong side of your fabric. Press it well so it heats up and heats that glue, because the bumpy side is the glue side. And then you're going to press your rectangle in half lengthwise, and then open it, and then press your raw edges to the center here, just like that, and then press it in half again so that this measures 1 inch wide. Now, once you get that pressed, you're going to top stitch all the way down both of the long edges. These raw edges are fine, don't worry about them, but top stitch all the way down both the long edges. Once you've got that top stitch, now it's time to go ahead and attach the swivel hook to your wristlet strap. So I'm going to take my wristlet strap and I'm going to thread about 2 inches through the swivel hook, and then I'm going to fold it 1 inch back, just like this, so that it meets where the hook is. So the hook is going to sit right down in that little spot. Then you're going to make sure that you don't have your strap twisted, so your strap stays straight, and then you're going to bring it around so you can lay it right next to where the hook is. You're going to put the raw edges right next to where the hook is, and then you're going to fold that over so that your fold encloses the raw edges right there. So once you've got that all enclosed, now you're going to stitch one line straight across, close to the hook and where it's close to those raw edges, and then one line, stitch a line here on the outside towards the fold. So let me go ahead and sew that, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment when I get it done. All right, so this is what your wristlet strap is going to look like when it's finished. Once again, I sewed one line here and one line here, backstitch across the whole thing. Make sure you backstitch so that it secures this really well. And that's all you need to do to make the wristlet strap. Now, I do want to mention that these bags here are made with the subscription box fabrics. So these are the fabrics you're going to get in your subscription box. So if you got the box, then these are the fabrics you're going to work with. The last thing that I'm going to do, so I've made my wristlet strap. The next thing I want to do is do my D-ring tab. So the D-ring tab is made the exact same way as the wristlet strap. Once you've got that done, you're just going to thread this through the D-ring pretty simply. Meet the raw edges and just base those raw edges closed so it stays closed just like this. So I'm going to base these closed, and then we'll get on to the next step in just a moment. I'll be right back. All right, so that's what that looks like. Now, I forgot to mention, when you baste it, you're just going to do about an 1/8 inch seam allowance. You do not want to do the full 1/4 inch. You just want to make sure that that end stays closed. So we're going to set these aside for just a few moments, and we're going to start working on the ruffle. So the ruffle on the larger pouch is super simple to make. You're going to grab your rectangle of fabric, you're going to press it wrong sides together, press it in half, and then you're going to switch your machine over to the longest stitch length that you have. I think my machine at home is a 6.0. I'm not sure what the longest stitch length here is, but somewhere around a 5 to 6, the longest that you have, so it gets you a really wide stitch length. Then you're going to so about 1/4 inch across the raw edges, the top raw edges of this ruffle. So when you do this, that's going to make it able to give you the ability to ruffle this fabric pretty easily. Now, when you ruffle it, you are going to have to be gentle because the threads can break, so just keep that in mind. But I go ahead and I like to take the bottom thread and just hang on to that, and then I slowly pull the fabric toward the center, and moving gently as you go, you're going to gently pull the fabric to the center, just like this, and then grab from the other side. Once again, you're going to grab the bottom thread. So you just separate those out, hold on to the bottom thread, and then gently pull the fabric towards the center here. And just make it as even as possible. So we're going to set that aside, and we're going to make this ribbon part next. Now the ribbon is made by taking a rectangle of fabric, putting it right sides together this time. So this is the wrong side out of this. Right sides together, and just sew 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way down the side. Don't forget to switch your stitch length back to the original position, about a 2 to 2.5 length, whatever you normally sew with. So make sure you switch your stitch length back. So 1/4 inch all the way down, and I go ahead and back stitch a little bit at the front and at the end just to keep that secure because we need to turn this right side out. And then we are going to take this, and I'm just going to smooth it down, and my seam is open on the inside. So I'm just smoothing that down all the way to the end, and I'm going to keep my seam on one side of what's going to be pressed flat. The other side is going to be nice and smooth. There's no seam on this side at all. You don't have to put the seam on one end. So once I get that finished, then take it over to the iron and just press it flat. And just like that, you have the ribbon that you need that's going to cross over the ruffle. All right, so once we have those made, we're going to set these aside for just a little bit, and you're going to grab your pocket fabric. You're going to turn it right sides together, just like this. And so it's lengthwise, so it's going to be wider. And so you're going to take your pocket fabric, turn it right sides together, and you're going to stitch 1/4 inch down the raw edges. So stitch that closed, make a tube. Once again, a little back stitch at the beginning and end. That's going to make it easier whenever you turn it right side out. Once you've got it stitched, you're just going to turn it right side out just like this. Grab yourself a teal thingy or a stiletto, poke it through, and just give the seam, because the seam is going to be on one side now. We don't want to center that at all, but give that seam just a gentle push so that it pokes all the way out and gets nice and flat just like this. And then grab your iron and press it really well. We need to top stitch across this fold. So not the seam side, but the fold side. We're going to top stitch 1/8 of an inch across that fold. And once we do that, then it'll be time to position it on to the lining piece. So let me go ahead and top stitch that, and then I'll show you where to put this on your lining piece. All right, so I have this top stitch across the fold, and that is going to be the top of your pocket. So I'm going to lay my lining piece on my work surface, grab my pocket piece, and the top of the pocket, of course, is towards the top of the lining. And then grab a ruler that is kind of wide or is long enough that you can work with it. And you're going to measure 2.5 inches above or up from the bottom. And I like to just lay my pocket just across just like this. So if you have a longer ruler to work with, then you can work with it that way. But I just measure that 2.5 inches up, lay my pocket even with the ruler, grab a couple of clips, and clip it in place. And then now is the time to mark your pocket divisions. Now, put as many pockets in as you want. Obviously, if you want to do like pencil pockets, or if you're using it as a makeup bag and you want your makeup brushes to be in it, then measure out smaller pockets. I just did a couple of pockets because that's all I wanted in mine. Get that handle out of the way. So I'm going to lay this to where it's evenly spaced here, and then I'm going to measure directly in the middle of my pocket or of my lining. And I'm just going to draw a line now. And I'm using a chalk marking line. You can use a friction pin. You can use whatever sort of marking implement that you want to do. For me, the chalk mark is good for that. And then stitch from top to bottom of the pocket. You're also going to top stitch across the bottom here of the pocket. So that's going to stitch the bottom closed, baste the edges so that they're basted down, and then stitch your pocket divisions. When you stitch your pocket divisions, make sure that you top stitch at the top and bottom of each one to secure that pocket and give it a little bit extra security on that. So I've already got one finished. So here is my lining piece with my pocket sewn and my one pocket division done there. All right, so I've got my two pieces, my lining and my pocket with my divisions done, and I'm going to set that aside and we're going to continue on. So the next step that we're going to do is making the outer bag. So we're going to sew the top piece to the bottom piece and then put the ruffle and ribbon on. So what I've done is I've taken my outer main fabric and sewed it to the top of the contrast fabric that's going to be for the outside of the pouch. When you do that, or once you do that, then you're going to use your favorite method to go ahead and attach your foam piece to the wrong side of that rectangle there. Now, whenever I do that, I like to use a product called Free Fuse. It is a powder that is a semi-permanent fusible powder. You're going to sprinkle the powder on your foam. You're going to lay your fabric on top of it, right side up, make sure it's the wrong side to the foam. Then you're going to use your iron and press it for about 4 seconds over all of that and get that heated up so that it melts the powder, because the powder is the glue that's going to hold that on. Another option you can use is some basting spray if you'd like, or you can just stitch all the way around the outside edge. Make sure that you are about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. You don't want to get too much further in so that you don't show those stitches whenever you put your bag together, your pouch together. So got that. We've gone ahead and attached it to our foam. Once you attach it to your foam, you're going to grab your ruffle, and it's time to put the ruffle on. So the ruffle is going to be positioned 4 inches down from the bottom, or I'm sorry, down from the top. Once we have that finished, this is what it looks like right here. So this is the outside of the pouch with the ruffle attached. So once you have that attached, it's time to put the ribbon on. So we need a little bit of ribbon to cover this raw edge. Need a little bit of something to cover the raw edge. It makes it look nicer. And it also helps to use that contrast fabric right there to cover that up. When I position this, I'm going to position it so it's centered over where the raw edge of the ruffle is. And so it's going to cover that raw edge. It's also going to go down just a little bit underneath the seam allowance of that ruffle. So where that 1/4 inch seam allowance is, it's just going to center right over that. So then we clip that on either end, just there and there. And now we're going to top stitch all across the top of the ribbon and then across the bottom of the ribbon, and that's going to hold it all in. And this is what it's going to look like when we're finished, but I do need to go ahead and top stitch this. So give me just a moment, let me get this top stitched, and I will be right back to show you what this looks like. All right, so I have my ribbon stitched down over my ruffle, over the raw edge of the ruffle. I did forget to mention to you, and I noticed it while I was sewing the ribbon down, but go ahead and baste these edges of the ruffle down. So we've got now the bag outer put together. So we're going to go ahead and put these 2 panels aside. So we are getting close. The last thing we need to do is prepare our zippers. So you're going to have 2 different sizes of zippers. The larger one obviously is going to be for your large bag. And we're also going to make some zipper tabs, or some zipper ends. I'm sorry. We're going to make some zipper ends. So these are rectangles of fabric that you have cut, and they look awful small, but what you're going to do is you're going to press them, same thing that we did for the wristlet strap and the DRing tab, is you're going to press them wrong sides together in half, just like this, open it up, and then press your raw edges to the center, and then press it in half again, so it's going to measure about 3/8 of an inch by 2 inches. So that's what you're going to want to make sure that you do to make 4 of those. 2 of these are going to be for the large pouch, and the other 2 are going to be for the small pouch, so you can set those aside. So the zipper for the large pouch, let's go ahead and prepare that. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to cut off just the tab. Now, the zipper is pretty close to the size that you need, so make sure that you don't cut off too much extra. But we're going to cut off just the tab. So I like to line up my zipper tape with the inch line on my ruler and then grab my rotary cutter. Now, not everybody wants to use the rotary cutter with this, but as long as you take it slow, those zipper teeth are going to get out of the way and you're not going to damage your blade. If you try to zip over, or if you try to cut over too fast, then you might run into the metal and might chip your blade. But just make sure you take it slow as you cut off just that tab piece on the end. Once you get that cut off, you're going to take one of your zipper ends, one of the fabric ends, and you're going to sandwich the zipper inside. You're just basically open up the two folds and sandwich the zipper inside. Make sure that your zipper is all the way to that center crease, to that fold on the center crease. And then all you're going to do is top stitch just across here to secure this down. Now, I have done this already, but let me go ahead and do this one. Let me go ahead and top stitch it, and then I'll show you the next step. Be right back. All right, so once you have that tab top stitched on, then you're going to measure from the other side, or from this side over towards the zipper pull. Now, you want to measure 11¼ inches over. So, and that's going to be like right next to your zipper pull. That's okay for right now. So, let's see here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my ruler and I'm going to make a mark with the zipper pull closed right now. I'm just going to make a mark on the zipper at 11¼ inches over. Once I have that marked, then I'm going to open the zipper. You need to make sure that you open the zipper at this point because we need to cut on that mark. And if you don't have your zipper open, then you will lose your zipper pull and you'll have to start all over with a whole new zipper. So I like to just lay it just like this with my zipper pull opened, grab my ruler and use my rotary cutter again and just very slowly cut where that mark was, cut off the end of the zipper where that mark was. Once you've got that done, then you can take your other zipper end and sandwich that just like this in between. When you go to sew this though, you are going to need to watch and make sure that your zipper teeth kind of are right next to each other so that you get that zipper as closed as possible right there on the end. But you're just going to top stitch, same thing that you did for this end, with the zipper, with the end of the zipper as close to or as pushed up against that center crease as possible. And then just hold your zipper so that as it stitches, it keeps that closed as much as possible. And I've gone ahead and done this already. So that's what it looks like. And see how my zipper is as closed as possible right there? That's what we need to do. Once you have that, we're going to take and cut off the extra zipper end fabric. So we just want to cut it even with our zipper tape. Use your scissors for this part and just cut it even. And I just use my zipper tape as my edge to cut. This is going to get caught in your seam allowance, so don't worry too much if you're really close or if you get a little bit wonky cut there. It's not too big of a deal. As long as you don't cut too much off, then you're good to go. So now my zipper is prepared to go ahead and add it to my bag. In order to do that, I'm going to grab my lining piece without the pocket. So just the plain lining piece, just like this, my zipper right side up, and I'm going to go ahead and zip it, zip the zipper closed. And now I'm going to center that along the top edge of my lining piece. So you'll notice that there is a little bit over 1/4 inch on either end that's going to be extra here. And then grab one of your main panels, one of your outside pouch panels, and you're going to lay it just across the top edge. You're going to line up all of your raw edges, making sure that that zipper stays centered in there. Now, when you do this, if you want to go ahead and just add a clip to start with, to keep that zipper where you need it to be, and then add your outside panel, that will work. Just line up your raw edges and make sure that the zipper is along the top. Now you're going to want to switch over to a zipper foot if you can on your machine. And then I unclipped that center one and just went ahead and clipped it over your outside bag, your outside pouch panel and the lining. And so then that's clipped there. You're going to use a zipper foot and you're going to sew 1/4 inch across the top just like this. Whenever you're sewing this, because the zipper is closed and now we've got that zipper pull down here, it's going to cause some bulk down here that your foot is not going to want to run over. So all you have to do is whenever you get to about here, about 2/3 of the way across, take it, unzip your zipper pull all the way over, and then just make sure everything stays lined up, but keep your needle down, stop here with your needle down, unzip the zipper pull, and then finish out the zipper just like that. So let me go ahead and get this stitched on, and I'll show you what that looks like when I get back. All right, so I went ahead and pressed it open and top stitch it just to show you what that's gonna look like whenever this side of the pouch is finished. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add it to the other side. So grab your lining piece with the pocket and make sure that the pocket is open at the top. That is a common mistake to happen where you get it flipped over. So just to make sure your pocket is open at the top, grab your lining piece. We're gonna do pretty much the same thing. So grab the your panel that you just did, and the lining piece is going to be right sides together with the lining piece. Situate that to where it is evenly spaced on either side, and you're gonna match up your outside raw edges here. So we've got that evenly spaced. I'm just gonna grab a clip and clip that on, and then go ahead and grab your other panel piece and position that, line up your raw edges again and clip those so that you keep those together. Now the zipper pull is off to the left side this time. Go ahead and unzip that all the way before you put this on. That way your zipper pull is going to be out of the way whenever you need it at the beginning. Once again, stitch down, leave your needle down, zip the zipper pull back up, and then that gets it out of the way at this end. So once I get this clipped, I'm going to go ahead and line up all my raw edges, clip these together. Once again, stitch a 1/4 inch all the way across, same thing that you did for the other side. And then you're going to press it open and top stitch again along that finished seam. So I'm going to go ahead and get that finished, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to add our D-ring tab to the side of the pouch. So when the zipper pull is closed, then we're going to add it to that side of the pouch right there. We're just going to measure 1 inch down from the zipper, and we're going to add our D-ring tab just right there, and then baste through only the outer bag panel. So only the bag panel or the pouch panel that has the foam attached to it. So you're going to baste that on only through that. And so I'm going to do that real quick, and then I'm going to show you how to put the bag together in just a moment. All right, so I've got that D-ring tab basted on, and now it's time to go ahead and put the bag together. So I'm going to take both of my outside pouch pieces and the lining pieces, and I'm going to put them right sides together, line them up, and then clip them. Just put a couple of clips in, just to make sure that those stay together where I need them lined up. You are going to want to try to make sure that your ribbon gets lined up here. The ribbon and the ruffle get lined up here on the edge. If they're a little bit off, it's not too big of a deal, but just try to get them as even as possible. And then the only other thing is where the top of the bag meets, where all that foam is, I like to fold it so that the outside edge or the outside of the pouch is facing up, and that's going to help keep everything where it needs to be, and so that whenever you turn it right side out, you get a little bit smoother of a join there on the very edge. So I'm just going to clip those in place as well. Once I get those clipped, then I'm going to take it to my machine, and I'm going to stitch a 1/4 inch all the way around, but I'm going to leave about 4 inches open here in the center of the lining. That way I'm going to be able to turn this pouch right side out once I get it done. I almost forgot to mention, before you do all this, you do want to make sure that you have unzipped your zipper. So let me reach inside my pouch and unzip the zipper completely, or most of the way, because we need that to be unzipped so that we can turn everything right side out. So now that I've got my zipper unzipped, don't forget to do that whenever you're sewing this together. And now I'm going to take it over to my machine, leave a 4-inch opening along the bottom of the pouch lining, and stitch all the way around 1/4-inch seam allowance. And I'll be back to show you how to box the corners and finish this pouch. I'll be right back. All right, so I have everything stitched together now, and now it's time to make our box corners. We're just going to take our ruler and measure a 1.5-inch corner. All right, and then you're going to take your scissors and just cut those corners out. All right, so once we have all 4 of these corners cut out, what we're going to do is we're going to open up and pinch it together so that the seams meet. Make sure your fabric is flat on the inside here. Sometimes it likes to fold over on itself, so make sure your fabric is flat there. And you're going to just pinch those corners together, make sure your seams are even with each other. And going to clip the edges and sew a 1/4 inch all the way across there, and you're going to do that in all 4 of the corners. So let me go ahead and finish out all 4 of these corners, and I will show you what that looks like, and we can turn the bag right side out whenever I get back. So I finished boxing the corners, and now I'm just turning it right side out, the whole pouch right side out. And what I do is I gently push it through the opening in the lining and use my thumbs to gently push the bulk of the bag through that. That way you don't tear the stitches from your lining. And then push your hand down in, push your corners out. If you need to, grab your favorite poking tool, teal thingies or stiletto, to help you push your corners out. Whatever works for you. And then go ahead and stitch the opening in the lining closed. So I always just fold it over and get it nice and folded, and then I usually machine stitch it. Sometimes I hand stitch it, whichever way you prefer. So you're going to stitch that closed right across the opening and then push this down inside and poke out your zipper ends. Make sure that everything is nice and poked out on those corners. And here is the large Ruthie ruffled pouch. All right, so you're just going to clip the wristlet strap to your D-ring, and this is the large Ruthie's ruffle pouch. So super easy to make. Let's go ahead and do the small Ruthie ruffle pouch. Show you how to put that together. It's really pretty simple to put it together. What you're going to do is you're going to start by, let me see here. You're going to start by making the outer, and you're going to stitch your contrast to one side of the main and the contrast to the other side of the main, and then you're going to attach the wrong side of that to your foam, whichever way you prefer. Same thing that we did with the large pouch. You can use your free fuse powder, basting spray, however you want to put that on there. So go ahead and attach that. Once you get that finished, then we need to do the ruffle. So the ruffle on this is going to be made the same way that we made the ribbon for that. Grab your teal thingy, thread a piece of elastic through the teal thingy, through the ribbon holder on the teal thingy, and then I like to go ahead and just put a wonder clip, some sort of clip on the other end of the elastic that's going to hold it in place, and then thread that up through the ribbon, through that tube that we just made, and then all we're going to do is we're going to top stitch, just put that elastic even with the raw edges there and top stitch that end, and then do the same thing with the other end. So let's go ahead and finish making the ruffle. And how we do that is we're going to grab, now this is where I've top stitched both of the ends, so the elastic is in there and it's free flowing. I'm going to put this in my machine, and I'm going to lead this under my foot and stitch in the center all the way down. I'm going to start a few stitches, and then I'm going to grab and just pull the elastic so that the fabric is flat as it goes through my machine. That's going to keep it ruffled. That's going to keep it attached to the elastic as it goes down, and it's going to allow it to ruffle like this. So I've top stitched all the way down the center. It's a little difficult to see that since my thread is matching, but all the way down the center, and it's caused it to be a little bit long, and that's okay, but it's ruffled now the way that I want it to be ruffled. So then grab one of your outer your outer pouch panels, and you're going to lay this directly on top of, and making sure that your seam the seam of the ruffle fabric is on the back side. So then we just grab this and clip it on one side here. And you're gonna center this over the seam that separates your contrast and your main fabrics. And then you can stretch it a little bit. Go ahead and stretch your elastic a little bit. You can lay it flat. However, whenever I sew it down, it ends up stretching out anyway. So it'll kind of be a little bit pulled. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these two and I'm going to position my ruffles over the edge of my pouch and sew those down directly over that seam, just straight down each side. So let me do that and I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. All right, so I have those stitched on. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trim off the extra ruffle that's on here because we don't need that on there. And then once I've got that trimmed, it'll be time to prepare our zipper. Now we're going to put the zipper together the same exact way that we did for the large pouch. So you're going to have a couple of zipper ends. You're going to cut off the end of the zipper just where the stop is. You're going to insert the end of the zipper into one of the zipper ends, same thing that you did for the large pouch, and then turn around and mark the zipper where it tells you to mark from the zipper end towards the pull. Mark that, open up your zipper, cut it off, and then insert that into the other zipper end. And once you've got that, then you're going to trim off your zipper ends. So the next step is going to be putting this pouch together. All right, so we're gonna put this pouch together the same way that we put the large pouch together. What you're going to do is you're gonna grab your lining piece, you're gonna center the zipper with the pull on the right on that lining piece. The only other thing is whenever you or you do your box corners on the small pouch, you're only going to trim 1-inch box corners. You're still going to put them together the same way. Make sure that you have your opening and your lining piece so that you can turn your pouch right side out. And it's going to put together the same exact way that the large pouch did. So this is the Ruthie's Ruffle pouches, and these are part of the subscription box. This is the kit that's going to come in your subscription box this month. And I'm super excited about them. I think they are super cute pouches. You can also grab your kits on our website, thequiltedcow.com. So pick up your kit there. Make sure that you get your pattern because the pattern will be sold separately. Make sure you grab your pattern. And I hope you enjoy making these as much as I have enjoyed making them. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe to our videos so that we can keep bringing you content like this. And have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Okay, you wicked cool quilters, good job. You made it to the end. We would like to thank our sponsors, Husqvarna Viking Sewing Machines, Creative Grids, rulers, rotary cutters, and mats, and Wilmington Prints for the beautiful fabrics. Thanks for watching.